Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to Tim Talks Audio Live. We're going to be doing a little bit of a mix today, going over some of my workflow that I approach whenever I approach a mix. Today we're going to be working with Laid to Rest. It's a hardcore band, and this is from the live set that they did at the 2019 This Is Hardcore show in Philadelphia. This mix is eventually going to be sent off to the website Hate56, and they're going to Sunny and Hate56, they're going to edit it together and put the video recorded set live on their website. I'm going to mix the audio now. This way he has something to work with. I'm sure he may have already cut the cameras together. He's just got to take this mix once it's done, sync it all up, and then send it out to the website. So let's go ahead and change over to this look right here so you can kind of take a look at what I have going on. This is everything. I've already done a lot of prep work for this mix, but you can see I don't really have a lot going on. I have some of my favorite stuff on my mix bus, which is right here. This send is just what's going to you guys, so you can see. And I don't have anything on. I'll adjust this stuff later. Over here on my outputs, I just have a limiter just to make sure that it's not hitting you guys too hard, but it's the same thing on both. Threshold of -1, out ceiling of -1, and a fast release. It's really just to make sure that it's not clipping to going to you guys. But on all of my channels, there is nothing going on any of my individual channels. I don't have anything. I do have Slate's trigger on these two tracks right here, a kick sample and a snare sample, but I didn't load any samples in because I don't know if I'm going to need any yet. That's kind of what I'm going to find out as we go through this. I did some other prep, some quick panning stuff. This is a hi-hat mic that's muted right here. But as you can see, if I scroll through everything, I don't have anything on right now. Down here at the end, all this yellow stuff, this is my folder and my bus for my effects, which is all of these other yellow channels. And I do have a couple things going on. For snare verb, I like from Sound Toys, the little plate. So I use this one a lot. At default, it starts at like 4 seconds of a plate reverb time, but I always bring this down to less than or around a second. Let's see, on wide guitars, again, it's a Sound Toys, it's the little micro shift. Now I have the big micro shift as well, but most of the time I'm just going to be like sending guitars here and I don't change any of the settings. I want 100% wet. I like, mode number 1, it works. And then I can blend it in later using the fader and see how much I actually want. I can also blend it by how much I'm actually sending from the channels. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Then I have a couple options. This is my kick and snare, like parallel compression channels. I have a few different options. I have an 1176, and then this is the greatest little shortcut that Gregor just put on the actual Presonus YouTube channel, is page up and page down. Now I'm working on a laptop, so my keyboard's a little smaller, but with page up and page down, which is actually called page up skip and page down skip, that allows me to very quickly on the channel jump between plugins. This is the greatest thing that he showed. It instantaneously made its way into my workflow. So I have this is my, like I said, this is parallel kick and snare, parallel compression. I have a couple different options on 1176. This is the Waves one from CLA. There's another Waves one, the DBX 160. But I also threw on the fat channel. I put the classic compressor, which is like a 33609 sort of thing. But maybe we can go into this later, and you can't change it without it being on. And we'll change it to maybe an SSL, maybe a Fairchild. It has its own 160. We'll figure it out. But since I don't have another plugin that has like a 33609 style, I started off with that one. Let's see, the next thing I have, and I'm just going to turn fat channel back off, is a drum saturation. Maybe because this is a heavy, it's the greatest one, TCD. It's the greatest little keyboard shortcut, and I'm so happy that he put it out there. Okay, so drum saturation. Again, kind of prepared. I have the Sound Toys Devil Lock, and then I also have the Decapitator. Both of these are off. We'll see if we even need this and figure out what we want. Then I have my true true, parallel compression bus over here for my drums. And with this one, let me open up it from here, the routing, actually put a splitter on so that I can affect the left and right channels of the drum bus separately. So that's why there's two instances of fat channel, but right now they're both exactly the same. I'm using the 33609 and I'm using the the classic compressor, which is like a 33609, and the passive EQ, which is like a Pultec, and they have individual controls on the left and right. So I don't want, if he does like this big tom fill, I don't want it to offset the sides that the toms aren't feeding into. So that's what's going on there. That's why the splitter is in line here. It is doing it should be doing a channel split. I don't know why I didn't set that. And so now the left will go to the left, right will go to the right. I have an extra bus here. Who cares? It's not being used, but it's there in case I need it. And now I'm going to hit play, but I'm going to put a little word out. This is a hardcore set. These guys use some strong language. So, just be warned. You're going to hear some stuff that maybe you don't want to hear. Whatever. This is what they were singing about. So I'm going to show you two things I have. This is the Zoom audio recorder. That is basically the room mics. And I'm just going to solo it real quick. So that's what this channel is. That is just basically our room mics. We can use this to kind of like add a little bit of bigness to the rooms, but this is going to support the rest of the mix. There's also a live set. I want to approach it like you're actually there, even though you're not, and this is going to get put to the video. I want you to feel like you're there. So it's going to be a little bit more roomy than normal. And then I have my vocal channels open right here. I've already done a lot of work on these, like I said, where I've gone in and I cleaned up all this stuff in between. So if we jump forward a little, it's now just going to be room and vocals. So there. What we can do is just start bringing things up, and let's get this mix going. So what I'm checking for real quick is the polarity of the kick in and the kick out mics. Thankfully in Studio One, if you have your input controls open up here, which you can do by going to the wrench over here and selecting input controls, you have a very fast and easy polarity button right on the channel itself. So I'm just going to listen to the kicks, make sure that my kick in and my kick out are in phase with each other, that their polarity matches. You can also do this visually, but we're going to use our ears because that's more important. So they are in phase with each other. When you flip it out of phase, they get really hollow sounding. I'm going to do it again real quick. Actually, a good section is right here where he goes to the double kicks. So I'm listening to the low end, making sure that everything's good, and it gets real hollow in the middle, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'd be sacrificing too much by having it like this on the low end, and I want to keep that low end. Here's my shortcut, or here's the default shortcut to get out of solo anywhere. On Mac, it is going to be Command-Shift-S, and on PC, it should be Control-Shift-S. So it just deactivates my solos. There's not a lot of low end going on in this snare. It's pitched very high, or it's just a piccolo snare itself. So I'm not too worried about the phase that's going on. It is in phase, and here's how to check it visually as well. Here's our snare bottom and our snare tops. I'm going to try and let's get rid of the mixer real quick, and we'll zoom in on these guys. So you can check your polarity by going way in, and we can see that the snare top starts off by going down, and the snare bottom does the same. Now, they're a little off just because of the actual distance of the microphones, but in this instance, it's negligible. I can work with this, and I think I'll be all right. Let's get my mixer back, and that is F3 on your keyboard is the keyboard shortcut, and let's keep listening. Aha. We're running into something that can happen at a hardcore live show. You can see with my stage right guitar right here, when it starts off, and we're going to solo it out. There is not a lot going on. What most likely happens, the microphone got kicked away from the cab, and right over here you can see, and I'm sure once we get the video, which I never get beforehand, I always mix these things blind. I have no idea what's going on. I have to use my ears to figure out what's going on. My guess is Len Carmichael, owner of Landmine Studios, he is the engineer that goes on all of these shows with Hate56, and he does all the tracking. I'm sure he was looking at his recorder and was like, oh my God, something's wrong, looked out on stage, saw that the microphone was kicked, ran out, and put it back into position. And that's why we have this increase in signal for the rest of the set. Now, this one's a lot higher. This one, we're just going to match up. I'm going to clip gain it. On Mac, that's Option Plus in Studio One, and on PC, that'll be Alt Plus. But I'm just going to get these pretty close. Nope. Let's just undo 2 levels. I think that's pretty close. If anything, we can take this one down by a couple dB. It's no big deal. But I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. So that's exactly what happened. He swung that mic into position, and now we actually have it. Thankfully, though, right here is the DI track for that guitar. So in a little bit, what I'm probably going to have to do is come up with a very similar guitar tone and just use the DI for these first 2 guitars, and probably just kind of go like this, double click, edit these out. I may mute this one and have this one muted as well. That's Shift M to just mute the event. And I'll have to use the DI guitar for the first, what is this, minute and a half of this set. And then I can use the mic for the remainder of the set. I already did some edits over here as well, just to clean it up. So we'll deal with that as we will. So it's going to be a little left heavy right now, but we're just getting basic levels. That's another instance of what can happen in a live set. This is just overdriving the mic. This was, you can only have so much time before all these sets. This is a showcase show. They're going through all these bands, and sacrifices need to be made, but adjustments can be made, and it all happens live. CT Death Squad! Give my name! this bass track I have right here is just a straight duplicate of the original bass DI, and I may do some stuff with this later to do some parallel processing. And again, it's live. You can see his dynamics are kind of all over the place. And in the beginning of the set, he's real strong. And then through here, it's a little different on the DI. But the amp is pretty solid all the way through. So just stuff to watch out for and listen for when you're working with live sets. This is in between songs. Clear out that solo.
ACAB, motherfucker! No one is there for you! This is different goal!
Okay, and then what I'm going to do to kind of help me check my levels is everything's going through my mix bus, and I'm just going to put my mix bus into mono. This will help me kind of judge where my levels are. You may have also seen I reached over for something over here that's off camera, and I turned off this insert on post. This is just it's a room correction curve for one set of monitors that I have. I have the luxury and the benefit of having multiple sets of monitors. One pair is the Kali Audio LP8s. They're great monitors, very budget friendly. I think recently they're normally $500 for the pair, and I think recently they were doing $400 for the pair. Then the other set of monitors I have are the Yamaha NS10s. So that's what I'm listening to right now. This is the correction curve for the Kali. See right here, Kali room correction. So I'll turn this on and off, and that's how you'll know or may know that I'm switching between monitors. So I'm going to listen on my NS10s right now in mono to figure out if my balance is okay. So this is something I'm going to want to address, is this area right here. This is the singer dumped the mic into the crowd. And so this is people just shouting into the microphone, and I want to highlight this. So I just made my selection. I hit Option X or Alt X on a PC, and I'm just going to clip gain this up a little bit. And it will be a little different in the sound, because if I go back... And I can't correct for that. All I can do is make sure that this vocal track sounds as good as it can throughout the entire set. And for whenever things like this happen, when they dump the mic into the crowd, I got to make sure that you can actually hear what the people are chanting along with. They all know the lyrics, and this is a live show, so the energy is there, and I want to preserve that as much as I can. Okay, so far I'm pretty happy with what's going on. What did I just do? I changed my pan a little. That's fine. Now what I want to do is I want to find like a tom heavy section right around here. He's got a lot going on. And I want to put these toms into the drums. I'm going to do it within the mix to find where the balance is. Okay, I'm liking where those are sitting. They just need to be I need the attack right now because most of the sound is actually going to be coming from the overheads.
What? Give my day! My life doesn't about run! We're not ready to run, son! Who's the one to blame?
That'll be an interesting thing to approach is the double kicks going on here, listening through just the tom mics. You can hear, or you may have heard, that there was a little tom fill that happened right around here in that double kick run. But mid tom 2, which will just kind of solo out on its own. Actually, it looks like tom 1. So right now, tom 2 is just a lot of noise, but if we come over here, actually mid tom 2, based on the sounds, may have only been a mic that was around the drum kit. It might not have been actually used. We'll have to judge this. Actually, mute mid-tom for now, and we'll judge this later. Because you can see mid-tom, it looks like it's just the sound of the drum kit, which might be a good thing. Maybe we can use this as almost like a parallel drum sound when we have it soloed out in any part. You know, and this may be a good use of like just slamming it with a compressor and then blending it in. And we'll find out. We're just going to mute it for now. So we're just going to assume that it's high tom and low tom that are doing things. And we'll have to adjust for those, like the bleed and everything in a little bit. All right, let's get into some plugins and doing some stuff. I try and do things from a top-down approach. So I'm going to go down to my mix bus and slowly put things in. I'm going to start off with an SSL style VCA compressor. And these are generally the settings that I use. And I'm just going to adjust the threshold to kind of suit what I want. Helps to turn it on. So I'm just getting a general level balance between processed and unprocessed on my mix bus, just so that we can hear what it's actually doing.
Now my own misery I'm fucking lost. I don't wanna be found. Doing it, want to make it wrong. Falling in will be saved by you. And my worst enemy takes a life from your doom.
So I think it's generally okay. Most importantly, I want to handle these. I'm going to handle these vocals. So I'm going to go in and clean these up first. On the channels themselves, I'm going to do a lot of like the corrective stuff, clearing out the rumble when the vocals are actually live. I've cleaned out everything in between. So I'm just going to do some corrective EQ, getting rid of stuff that I don't like, low end rumble, things that we don't need. So we kind of want to find a big passage, which might be this over here. And I'm just going to start with my favorite EQ. Especially when doing corrective stuff, it's Fab Filter. I'm only going to work on the main vocal right now because it's corrective stuff, and I'm just then going to copy it over to the other channels. There's another one of those things where he dumps the mic in. Right there. Take that. Clip it up a little. That might have been too much. How about right there? Let's go past that part. There's a lot of this like mid-range stuff going on because most likely he's cupping the mic. So that will happen when you cup the mic, as it gets real nasally, real mid-rangey. So we're gonna clean that up a bit.
Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me. Wired jaw is all you good for. But it's time to settle down. To get again. Struggle to survive as the days go further. You people wonder what got the chip on my shoulder.
There's also like another nasally thing. It's a little pointier, so I'm going to try and find it real quick in solo. And this is just to correct it out. Then I'll take it out to find where it actually needs to sit.
Struggle to survive as the days grow colder. You people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down. Struggle to survive as the days grow colder. You people wonder what got this. Struggle to survive as the days grow colder. You people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
So now I'll probably do it later, but I'm just going to experiment. I'm going to do like a nice high shelf to bring some of the presence in. And I just want to hear it. I'm going to take this out.
Struggle to survive as the days grow colder. You people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
And then I'll know for later what I'm going to want to do is get rid of this frequency up here that's going to be like a sibilant SE. I could de-S it, and that might be what I do.
Survive as the days. Struggle to survive and
Right there. There's not a lot happening then through most of it, but I want to counteract what the high shelf is doing.
struggle to survive as the days grow colder. You people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
So I'm going to know later that I'm definitely going to want to add some highs and some clarity there and get rid of the harsh S's after the fact. Excuse me. I'm going to get some water just to get rid of this. Oh, hit the computer. Okay, so for cleaning up, that will work. And I'm just going to copy that over. I selected the 2 channels that I wanted by holding shift, and then I went to the lead vocal where I had it and just dragged it over, and it will copy. I have no link in my Reddit post. Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. You know what? I'm going to be doing another live stream on Thursday, either finishing this song up or working on a different song, and I'll make sure to put a link in the Reddit post. But thanks for pointing that out. You know, you live, you learn. So yeah, that's how I just very quickly copied. So now all 3 of my vocal channels have the same cleanup. So for this vocal later, which is going to be this channel, he already has the same EQ curve going on. I may need to adjust this for his voice, but we'll worry about it when we worry about it. Now what I could do, and then what I may do, is find a little bit of compression just to put all these vocals generally in the same area. You know what? Let's experiment a little. Let's go with the fat channel compressor, and I want something quick. So I'm just going to go with 1176. I'm going to go a slow attack. All the way to the left is the slowest. All the way to the right is the fastest. Hey, thanks, Rodney. Cool. Thanks for putting the link into the description. So yeah, attack, slowest all the way to the left, fastest all the way to the right. Same thing with release. Release, slowest all the way to the left, fastest all the way to the right. I'm going to drop my output, turn this on, of course. 4-to-1 is going to be fine. And I'm just going to get some general evenness through this vocal, which is already very even because of how he is singing, but I just want to retain some stuff, like visually looking between this passage and this passage, which is probably somebody in the crowd. I kind of want to just balance them out. Do you get work as raw stems or do the recordings too? I do both. It depends on what the client is. This one in particular, I just got the tracks to mix. Like I said earlier in the video, this is for the website Hate56. This was a live set from This Is Hardcore 2019, and the band was laid to rest. So I didn't do the recording for this. I'm just doing the mixes. Excuse me. Here's some more water. But there's I do recordings as well. You know, when the clients ask for that, I will go to studios and do whatever kind of recording they need, and then take it home and do all my mixing here.
Got this chip on my shoulder. Yeah, baby, I know what. Got this chip on my. Yeah, baby.
Let's go back here.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. Yeah, baby, I know what. Got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker, get the pay with me.
My gain's a little higher, but I'm okay with it. I'm gonna do the same thing. Fat channel. It just has that compressor on it. I selected my other channels, and you can see when I drag it over, copy effect, fat channel. Boom. Now these ones also have the same thing. These vocals are all going to this folder bus that I have going on, and I can do some processing on everybody right here. And this is generally where I will do a lot of that. This, you know, just kind of keep everybody happy and, you know, just gluing everything together. That's the word I was going for.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. Yeah, baby, I know what. Got this chip on my shoulder. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. Yeah, baby, I know what. Got this chip on my shoulder.
So that was before, and here's the after.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. Yeah, baby, I know what. Got this chip on my shoulder.
So cleaned it up, brought it a little forward, and that's what I wanted. So I've already done some corrective EQ. I've already done a little bit of compression. Let's go in and do some additive EQ, something that I like. You know what? Let's try like, you know what? Let's go with another fat channel on everything. I'm going to EQ it first, and let's see what we got. On a Neve style? Let's go with a Neve style. This will be the Vintage 3 band. I could have done something more if I wanted. Standard, you know what? Let's try this. Like we were saying before, we want like a high shelf. So let's do that.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
That's a mid boost. Okay.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Struggle to survive.
You know what? Not really feeling that. Tried it. Wasn't feeling it. We could do that. I don't really want that. Maybe a Alpine 550. This is based on like an API kind of thing. I want my high frequency to be a shelf. And I know that I'm going to need some presence, so I'm just going to start all the way down and slowly add in.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
So that took care of a good amount. So I don't need to do any of this stuff up here.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip.
And I want to add some presence to them. So I'm going to go around 3K and see what we can do.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder.
Maybe we can get rid of some of the mid rumble.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me. Wired jaw. But it's time to settle your contagion. CT Pro. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece.
Maybe not that. Let's try this.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me. Wired jaw.
You know what? None of these fat channel compressors are really doing it for me right now. So I'm going to go with the Pawn Shop comp. This is from Dan Korneff and Korneff Audio. It's extraordinarily flexible. You can do a lot of work with this. And the front looks like something you would normally see on any compressor. Attack release, ratio thresholds, bypass switch right here, makeup gain. This screw right here is the manual makeup gain. This is the auto makeup gain right here. But this is where this compressor is really cool, is if I click on Korneff, it gives me the back of the compressor, and here I can manipulate a lot of settings. I wonder if I can make this a little bigger for you. You know what? I'll just kind of zoom in, because that's something I can definitely do. So it's a little, I just have it like zoomed in on my mouse, so the picture is like a little pixely, I guess you would say. But this is the back of the compressor, and you can do a lot. You can drive the input, you can change the output. There's a wet dry control right here. There's preamp warmth and bias change right here. You can change the tone. You can change some of the components within the compressor itself, and it does change the sounds. This thing is extraordinarily powerful. And thankfully, Dan gave us a bunch of presets. So let's just start with a preset, because why not? This is aggressive Vox. Actually, this is going to be Scream, because he did that the whole way through. We're just going to start with that. And now we can adjust things.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me.
And I might start with that, but now I feel like my vocals are too hot. So I could either, bring down the output of the compressor itself, but right now I'm actually just going to bring the bus down.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder.
But now I want to approach some of these drums.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece.
On a drum bus, I've been really liking the API 2500 as of recently. So that's what I'm going to go with, because you can't stop me I'm kidding. It's just something I like right now. Something I also like doing is turning off the left-right link. This is something I was talking about earlier in the video, where I don't want what is happening on the right side to affect what's happening on the left, and vice versa. So I'm just going to put these as, it's basically turning it into a dual mono compressor right now. It's a drum bus, so I want those transients to go through. I'll mess with the ratio as we're doing it, and put that back to normal. And so I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to do a fast-ish release. So like 50 milliseconds is the same thing as over here. I'm going to kind of split the difference between 0.1 and 0.2 with a 0.15, and we'll mess with these.
Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. CT Brotherhood. Dark gun down, we're back for your mouth, nigga. That's a bit.
For drums especially, I love the Waves SSL E channel. I do have, where is it? I'm going to pull it up real quick. The Plugin Alliance, the BX console SSL E channel, which you can change the dynamics to a G as well, which is really nice. This is a very good sounding plugin as well, but for me, I just can't get the sounds that I want in drums. So I go back to my old standard and my old favorite, which is the E channel from Waves. This is just the one that I like. I know how it sounds, and I know how to get the sounds I want. I know I'm going to want to get rid of some of this low-end rumble, but let's start off by adjusting the gate on the kick drum a little. So we're just going to solo this out. And I'm not going to want to gate it. If I engage this, it like will close the door all the way. I'm actually just going to turn it into an expander. I don't want to get rid of everything. Oops. I just want to like push down stuff that is not the kick. Because if this was a gate, so I like it more as an expander when I work with live drums like this.
As the days go colder, the people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me. Wired jaw. I'll show you real great beats. Move this shit. Struggle to survive as the days go colder. The people wonder what got this chip on my shoulder. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker can't compete with me. Wired jaw. But it's time to settle down. Again. CT Brotherhood.
So I think that's pretty good starting point for that kick. Let's do a quick before and after. And then in the mix, before. Let's really do this like blast beat section right here.
Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker, get the pain with me. Wired jaw, but it's not to settle down. CT Brotherhood.
And then we'll do the same thing with the snare. Again, the SSL channel, it's what I like it. I know how to get the sounds I want. Because we also are listening to this, we know that the snare is tuned very high. So I can get rid of a bit more low ends, just the rumble filtered out right away. And the same thing, I'm just going to want to expand this. And I'm going to want it to release kind of quickly. I want it to act very fast. And we'll kind of guess it in real quick. So let's solo our snares. Okay, so I feel like that's very well cleaned up. The snare track, it's gotten rid of a lot of that stuff. The blast beat is a good area to find that. So it's doing a little bit of reduction when the snare is not hitting, and that's all I want it to do. I want a little bit of bleed. I want it to sound live. That's fine by me. So let's put it back into the mix and see what we can get.
Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker, get the pain with me. Wired jaw, but it's not to settle down. CT Brotherhood. Goddamn, we're back for your mouth, nigga. Never be, and you'll never be, you. Got the blood, got the door, you can't take it this time. 1022, I'll let myself survive. I'll show you real pain. Break you down, piece by piece. Weak motherfucker, get the pain with me. Wired jaw, but it's not to settle down. CT Brotherhood. Goddamn, we're back for your mouth, nigga. Never be, and you'll never be, you. Got the blood, got the door, you can't take it this time. 1022.
Now the snare still sounds really dry. Hey, what's going on, Booth? Thanks for joining. Just going over this heavy mix right now. The snare sounds really dry right now, so what I can do is just send it to my snare verb. And like I said earlier, this is down here on my buses. I have the Sound Toys little plate. This is a great sounding plate plug-in. I have some low cut going on up to 136. This is kind of just generally what I do for snares because I don't want a lot of that low end going to the verb. So very quickly, I'm just going to clean up these toms real quick. I'm going to do the same thing, SSL channel, because this is just what I know. I like it a lot. I'm going to start off, which one is this? This is the high tom, that's fine. I'm going to want to do this one a little bit more aggressively. I can release kind of quick. I always wanted to attack quick and bring this up a bit. And that's where we'll start. Actually, should have just done the one to begin with. So now both have some expansion going on them. Oops, that shouldn't have happened. It should have been that and that to do this. So you can hear it's pushing down the bell a little. Hi, man. Hello from Kiev. Kiev. I hope I'm saying that right. Thanks for the multi-track. This is laid to rest from this 2019's This Is Hardcore set. So this is going to go off to Hate 5.6 once it's done being mixed, which we're not going to get to today. I do have to wrap up kind of soon. So we're not going to complete it today. Maybe we'll finish it later this week, or we'll do another follow-up next week while just to show more of what goes into mixing something like this. This is a live set, so... but let's once again listen to the toms. We have a little bit of expansion going on, about 10 dB. So I'll just do a quick before and after again. We can clean it up a little bit more by going like this, and I'm going to roll off some of the low ends, and I'm just going to eyeball around 70 and do that for both. I drag and drop just to replace the one, and let's take both of these. Hey, get out of here, you. And we'll do the same thing before and after with a little roll off happening plus our 10 dB of expansion. So there's still a lot of the snare coming through on these. And we'll take care of that with the EQ. But again, this is live. I don't want to just kill all of the bleed. I want to use it. And then when we do the entire drums together, just with this little bit of expansion and still nothing going on the overheads. So very quickly, again, here's the before and the after. So we've done a little bit, some EQ, some compression on the toms. We haven't done anything to clean them up. On the overheads, we've yet to do anything yet. Do I know when Studio One 5 is going to come out? No, I don't. I'm just as excited as you. I've been using Studio One since version 2, and it's been great, and it's done a lot for me. And actually what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to do this. I don't know when Studio One 5 is coming out. I find out the same time that you will find out. And I'm excited, though. Studio One's been great. I've been using it since version 2. And it's just, I love that they listen to what we want. We go on the forums, we go on the Facebook site, and we say, hey, you should do this, you should implement that. And they listen. That's the biggest part, is they listen, and they do everything that they can to add in as many features that they can with all of these big updates, and even some of the subset updates as well. When we went from version 4.3 to 4.5 or whatever it was, I think version 4.5 had like 70 plus updates to it. And that was a free update. It wasn't like going from 3.5 to 4, which was a paid update. Anytime you do like a major update like that, it's a paid update. And any of the subset updates are generally free. And it's amazing. So that's the biggest thing, is that I like that they listen to what we, the users and the consumers, want. And they try to appease everybody. Now, there's a lot of things that they can't get. There's a lot of things that they may not be able to do. Sorry, I just need some water. And things that they can't do, which may be proprietary to another DAW, they come up with their own way of doing, because a lot of people want a feature like that's based within Studio One or within just their workflow in general. So we're going to have to call it quits from there. Firstly, I want to thank everybody who watched for tuning in and just kind of listening to a heavy set and some of the stuff that I do when I get a set like this. I appreciate you watching, so thank you for that. There will be another live stream this Thursday, April 2nd, but the replays are always available on my YouTube channel, Tim Talks Audio. So head over there. On these live streams, it's the only time that I actually ask you to go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell and all that other stuff. In my other videos, I never ask for subscriptions, but this is live, so I can do it, so go ahead. There'll be another live stream on Thursday, April 2nd, same time, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm based in the US, so that's what I go off of. If you found anything informative in this video, please like and share the video. For more, visit timflansbaum.com. And if you have a question in a live stream or in any one of my other videos, ask it in a comment or post it to my Facebook group, my Facebook page, Tim Talks Audio, and I'll answer it in a future video. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch everybody on the next stream.